What's good, my brothers?
Yo.
It's time. You know what time it is, man? This is game weekend, baby.
It is game weekend. Let's make it happen, boys.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Bosa's
sir.
back.
Bosa is back in town. You know what I'm saying? Yes.
Big Bear is back, dude.
Oh,
Big Bear is back.
Right.
Big Bear.
So pumped.
That's his name, dude. That's his name. Call him Big Bear.
That's right.
I mean, you guys watched that episode of his kind of interview regarding the whole injury that he had, and he's his ab injury, he's getting better.
Right.
Pretty interesting to see. This has probably been a good thing for him. He said he hasn't felt this good in like 5 years, right? So it's kind of interesting to see how he'll perform. So that's kind of excited to see where we're at.
Mm-hmm. Hey, you know what? Yeah. Drugs will do that to you, though. You know what I'm saying? So
drugs are bad.
Drugs are bad.
No, I mean I'm sure he's just probably just kind of been putting things off. He thinks he could probably naturally heal, and I'm sure it's just probably some ab tear that's been just kind of goofing around with him for a while. That he's just say, hey, while I'm here, let's get it done, kind of thing. So it's crazy to think about, like with Bosa basically being healthy now, and then if he's at this crazy full strength that we haven't seen from him in years. I mean, that could be extremely dangerous to be able to see how he could really be on the field now. So, who knows? What up, Zach?
What's up, guys? I know people are going to be trickling in, but here's the good news, guys. We actually are going to be doing the Madden simulation that Kyle normally does together. We kind of thought about it. Kyle's idea is that, hey, why don't we just do the Madden simulation as our pregame? I think it's a good idea, right? Because why not? Because Kyle usually does it late at night, Friday night. Not a lot of people can be up that late.
Right.
But let's just make this our pregame thing. And I'm like, that's a really good idea. So we want to try it out, guys. What do you guys think? Let us know. But we're going to do our normal pregame discussion as the bros together and go from there. Now, Kyle will not be able to be at the postgame show, but it'll be James and I. I'll probably watch the games at James' house, and then we'll just do something afterwards. But why don't we just tee up the Madden and let's go from there, and then we'll just continue the discussion. And guys, questions, whatever questions you have, throw it out. We'll just keep talking, and whatever you guys want to discuss, let's discuss and go from there.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get that stream going here, and then as we go, let's just talk about the game.
Yeah, most definitely.
Chargers. By the way, I got my
look at that
blue bolt.
That's awesome.
Now. I got two bolts now, so I get the yellow and the blue, and I got this sick banner. So the Nook is starting to come together. You know what I mean? So it's pretty exciting.
I thought you were going to say T-blows again for some reason. I got two T-blows.
T-blows.
Hey, well, no. Actually, funny story about that. So, I'm here in Arizona now, and I was out with Becky and Mom James, and we went to this place called something juice or clean juice or something. Tim Tebow was like a part owner of that place.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I walked in there and I see his face up there, and I'm like, man, I don't want to be here. I don't like Tim Tebow's, And then she just laughed. We had this funny conversation. So
that's
funny. That's awesome.
Hilarious. We went back and it was just super funny. But man, that looks good, guys. How does that look on your end? It looks good on my end. So
it looks good on my. Looks like good. I think it looks good on the freaking YouTube right now too.
Yeah, guys. Yeah, how does it look on you guys? Well, Francisco doesn't like Madden, I guess, huh? All right, Francisco. Come on, Francisco. Madden sucks. What? Come on now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we want to do the simulation. I don't even know what the score is. I know Kyle. I guess we're letting this roll. We're just going to keep talking about it.
Yep.
But again, so let's recap as this is going. Bosa's back, but he's going to be on snap count, right? I read an article about that. He's going to be on snap count. He's definitely not going to be out there full speed.
Yeah, how many times have we talked about that? And we knew 100% that was going to happen. We were like, he's probably going to be on a snap count. I think we gave him that idea. That was all us.
I think it was.
Yeah.
Hey, Tom Telesco, he's in our chat, right? He knows what's going on. PT.
Yeah.
That's phone. That's all those other guys, man. But yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. I mean,
or he actually could be Brandon Staley's twin brother.
Oh, there you go. There you go. I like that.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's good to be able to see that he's finally back and that he's there, I mean, I knew when he started kind of practicing this week, I was thinking, man, he's for sure going to be out there. So, I mean, based upon what they were saying is that, hey, look, like he was going to be out there. He's not going to be out there until he's 100%, or at least he feels as close to 100%. So, I think it was just this was the week and this is when it was going to happen. So it's really good to be able to see that happen. So I'm excited about it. Joey Bosa being out there and everything too. And, we are going against a team that's pretty beat up pretty badly, for most of the season. I mean, you got Aaron Donald beat up. He's not playing. You got, obviously, Stafford gone. He's gone. Cooper Kupp, he's gone. They don't have Odell Beckham from last year here, obviously. Who else is, man? I feel like everybody on this dang team has gotten beat up.
Right.
Jalen Ramsey's the only guy that's really out there, it seems like, for the defense, and Bobby Wagner, Troy Hill. But, man, they've just gone through so many freaking injuries. It's insane.
Yeah, but you know what? So are the Chargers, right? And that's the situation. Chargers are that way. But, again, what's the difference maker? Herbert, right?
Yep.
And we talk about this all the time about Lombardi's bad play calling, and LAFB Network had that one play that was like a perfect example of how crappy Lombardi's play calling has been, even in the red zone. And that's what's killing us, right?
Right.
You did curls. Well, yeah, we saw that just a few seconds ago, James. Like, you do curls in the red zone, like that's a terrible idea because you're running and then you run back. You could catch the ball and then be outside the end zone and not even a touchdown, right? It's just stupid the way he. It's like, why are you not thinking through that? Do outs, do ins, do posts, do anyway, just as stupid. So yeah. So let's see who's out. Brian Allen's calf is out. Aaron Donald, of course, is out. Yep, that's not good.
Tyler Higbee's questionable. He's a target.
Yeah, Ben Skoranek.
Yep.
John Wolford.
Yep.
So who's going to be the quarterback at this point?
Baker Mayfield.
Oh, that's right, Baker. I forgot they got Baker. That's right.
Yeah, quarterback. Yeah. So for the rest of the season. So.
Okay, so here's a real question, guys. Do you think Matt Stafford's going to retire? Because I actually think that's a pretty good chance that could happen.
I think it's a good chance. I mean, he definitely's said that he doesn't really want to retire and he's not planning on it. But I don't know. I mean, if he has another year where he gets injured or whatever, then I think he definitely will. I mean, maybe he'll want to wrap up his contract, whatever, before he decides to do that, though. So, I don't think he'll retire early.
Yeah. Well, he's got a neck issue too. So
you
got to think about a neck issue. You got to go back to say Peyton Manning. when he had a neck issue.
Yeah.
I mean, it's you've got to realize when you're moving your neck around, you're getting hit around, you're getting thrown to the ground. I mean, that's really going to throw off your complete vertebrae.
Yeah.
And if he has some sort of neck vertebrae based issue, I mean, that's detrimental to your overall health for the rest of your life. And you don't want to aggravate that much more. And that's a whole thing about this whole situation. It's like, it really depends on how bad that vertebrae or how bad that neck issue is for him. Peyton Manning only had it for I think he ran with it for a couple more years, and then basically, he's out at that point. So,
right.
It's interesting to be able to see how long he's going to be able to do that. So I think it was Peyton Manning had a herniated disc too. Andrew Luck, I think, might have had something similar to that too.
Yeah. But he was just constantly hurt feeling, I guess.
Yeah, and that's why he ended up retiring basically too.
Right.
Those whole things. Neck is nothing to be messed around with. Let me look and see kind of what he had basically, Matt Stafford. I know I saw last time it was a neck issue.
Well, I know it was definitely an elbow issue that he had like all year. So he had tennis elbow, right? Or is it football elbow? I guess
elbow.
We call it football elbow.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I mean, his career, he's been pretty banged up for a lot of his career, to be honest.
He's had a lot of injuries.
Yeah, so it is a spinal cord, some sort of issue. I think they categorize it as a neck issue too. So it was against Week 13 versus the Seahawks.
Yeah.
So, I mean, McVay says it's not a long-term based issue, but that's never a fun thing to be able to have a spinal cord based issue at all. So, I mean, we'll see. I've kind of even thought, if Baker Mayfield keeps playing the way he's playing, or at least he's navigating through the season and once again, it's pretty amazing what Baker Mayfield's been able to do in such a short amount of time with his team. And even to say that one game where he came in 48 hours later and ended up getting the game-winning drive to be able to beat. What was that? What was that against was that against the Raiders, or was I wrong on that one?
No, it's I can't remember. I mean, I don't really pay attention to the Rams at all, but I mean, like I don't care about them. But
hey, we're supposed to be experts here, but I think it was against the Raiders.
We're experts on the Chargers, man. We
don't talk about the Chargers, man.
We ain't giving no other team free rent in our heads.
Yeah, I think it was against the Raiders actually. So, I mean, the thing about it is he's got a pretty big brain, to be honest.
Right.
Much more than I think a lot of people took for him. But he's definitely playing for a job next year, and I have always thought, what if Matthew Stafford does retire and they decide to keep Baker Mayfield there? I mean,
I can see that. I mean,
you got to think, go back to when they let go of Jared Goff all of a sudden. And they said, all right, dude, you're off to the Lions, whatever. Next quarterback, we're getting Matt Stafford. Bring in Matt Stafford. Okay, we got a Super Bowl win out of him. He gets injured. Okay, now we got Baker Mayfield. What if he's the next guy for them?
Well, I think for the reason why they got rid of Goff, though, is because he wanted too much money as well, the Rams could not do what they needed to do in order to actually, pay for a Super Bowl if they were going to pay Jared Goff, obscene amount of money,
Yep, right. Yeah, it's kind of nuts. I mean, really, to be honest, Jared Goff, when they signed that contract, I remember I was just like, dude, that was a stupid idea. Yeah. I mean, to sign him that. Now, I'm not going to say he wasn't playing great, but he wasn't worth that kind of money. And then at the same side, this year, he's actually done really, really well with the Lions, though. So somewhat in a way that I feel like the contract's finally paying out, but it's kind of a little too late for that contract to pay out.
Yeah.
When he's with a totally different team. So either way, the Rams are all about F them picks and find some other dudes out there or whatnot. And they might have got lucky with Baker Mayfield if they feel Matthew Stafford's not going to be the guy this year, or next year, I should say. Baker Mayfield could just be that perfect fit in for them, possibly trying to draft a quarterback into this next draft too.
You probably can get him cheap too, right?
Yeah, I'm sure you could.
You're not going to have to pay him a ton of money.
Yep,
right?
I'm sure.
I mean, not like the stupid Broncos that gave $250 million to that freaking turd over there. I'm like,
right.
That was the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. I mean, like when I heard that they gave him that much money, I'm like, you got to be joking. Hey, why don't you can you highlight Francisco's question about DeAndre Carter there, James or Kyle?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go to some of these questions. I know people are. We'll go through these. On his spin of DeAndre Carter, man, like, I guess I'm kind of hidden here, but that's all right. That's all right. That's all right. I'll just get all the way underneath here. How about that? There you go.
I think we can move it.
No, that's fine. You're totally good. That's fine.
I'm going to do this, too.
Maybe you can move it.
Yeah, just do it like that then.
Oh, there you go. That works too.
Yeah. We'll make us a little tinier.
Yeah, but like, look, here's my thought on DeAndre Carter, man. Like, and guys, put your thoughts and questions out there too. We'll go through this again. We want to have this in the background. You know, I don't even know what the score is.
It's 0-0 right now.
No, I see that. The final
He's
score.
not paying attention to it. Yeah.
I'm just saying the final score.
Yeah,
I'm saying the final score. But okay, so let me give you my opinion on DeAndre Carter. Like he's been a nice fill-in. He's been a nice fill-in for us. We needed a guy, and he stepped up when we needed him. So in that regard, top marks.
Solid.
But he's getting older, and you can get a younger, fresh legs type of guy. Oh, nice play. Oh, I had a kid. But the problem with DeAndre Carter is getting older, right? He's getting older. I mean, we got him cheap, which is great. But he's a good depth guy. Obviously not a starter, but he's a good support type of guy. You know, when obviously Allen and Williams went down, he had to step up, and he did a good job. He did a really good job. And you know, the punt returning thing was great. You know, I think he's been pretty solid in that for the most part. So yeah, I mean, as far as a good pickup, top marks in my opinion. I don't know. What are you guys' thoughts?
Yeah. You know, he was a pleasant surprise. Even going back to, you know, in training camp, everybody was talking about, wow, this DeAndre Carter guy came out of nowhere and seemed to really be stepping up quite a bit for us. And, you know, I think personally DeAndre Carter's been a gem for us. He's really done some great things for us this season. Now, everybody's going to judge on what you have done for us lately. He really hasn't been much of a receiving target because guess what? We got Keenan Allen and Mike Williams back, and you still got Palmer out there with Everett. So, and then on top of that, Austin Eckler. It's just there's 5 guys out there that we have that are going to be above DeAndre Carter. Now, once again, what has he done lately for us? Well, he did fumble a punt that we got kind of a little lucky about getting that punt back in our possession since our guy was out of bounds. And I'm sure that based upon what Francisco's question is kind of really based upon that. Hey, he sucks because he basically fumbled the punt. Mind you, that's the first time that I could think of off the top of my head that he actually had fumbled a punt. So he's been pretty solid for us in that sense. Now, is he one of those guys that's a Deontay Hall? Is he one of those guys that could go out and just get touchdowns for us or whatnot? No, he's not that kind of guy. But is he a smart football player? I think so. And so I think that it's really, to be honest, very, very good to be able to have, you know, a guy that just could do the job well for us. I mean, it was interesting because I did look at our special teams. And I mean, our special teams have been really solid this year. But on the kick return, we're actually one of the worst in the league. We're 30th in the league on kick return of 19 yards average on kick returns, or kickoff returns, excuse me.
Right.
So we're not really that good in that sense, but I don't think that really matters too much for us in the sense of when we have an offense that potentially can move the ball a little bit for us. Now, that's a whole different animal to talk about because we've had some issues with that in that sense, but you can't rely 100% on the kick return team to be able to always take it back 30, 40, 50 plus yards every single time. It's kind of a tough thing to do, but I mean, what's your thoughts, Kyle? Sorry, I went on a lot of tangents.
It's fine. Yeah, I mean, honestly, he has really been one of the best pickups for us in the offseason because obviously look at what we had to have, what happened. Keenan Allen went down, Mike Williams went down, and so we needed him to step up. And like in his veterancy really made him wide receiver 1 in a lot of ways, and Palmer became like wide receiver 2, and geez, like I mean, he's been really good. Like I'm sure he's actually helped like the locker room a lot too. Like he really did seem like but even before the season started, that he seemed like a really good locker room kind of guy. So even off the field, I think he's just an absolute unit for the team himself.
A good veteran presence.
Yeah, good veteran presence, and I think honestly, you said, going into the season, I think he averaged still 10 to 15 yards.
We got Dicker the kicker. Let's go, baby. Dicker the kicker.
Oh yeah, Dick,
Dicker, baby.
It's good.
Nailed it, dude.
He don't miss. He don't miss,
dude.
Kick him in the dicker, dude. Nothing wrong with that.
Big
Rio,
baby. Let's go. Yep. Let's go.
I like Francisco's and
Dick. That chant.
Francisco says, I don't understand those play calls. You have a giant man in Parham, use him in the red zone. I agree. We've done a very poor job of getting him to, again, this is my biggest frustration with Lombardi, period. He does a horrible job of scheming people open.
Right.
And in the NFL, you have to scheme people open in the red zone for sure. You have to. You can't just do vanilla plays. And so, Francisco, can you highlight that, Kyle? And then the one underneath it too eventually. Optimus Rhyme.
Was this earlier one?
Yeah, it's right underneath DeAndre Carter.
Oh, it's right underneath.
And so you got Parham in the red zone, and you put everyone clumped up, in the end zone doing jump balls. Then I would trust that more than Lombardi's red zone play calling right now. I'm not joking. His play calling is horrible.
Yep.
And back in the days, the whole Peyton Manning days, right? They would do these rub routes. They would just have the two wide receivers crossed. I mean, you can't defend that. You cannot defend that. And we're not doing anything like that. Nothing to scheme anybody open. The reason why you do that is because the two defensive ends can't cover both people. You have to switch. And you're making the matchup that you want, right? That's scheming somebody open, and that's really easy to do. It's basically just one guy's going to be open, the other guy's not, right?
Yeah.
Pick which one's open, right? And so I just feel like he still continues his mindset of just chunk plays down the field, and he doesn't think through the red zone conversation. Now, I promise you, if I sat down with Brandon Staley and Joe Lombardi, they would not agree with that, and they'd say, well, this is what we're doing different.
Yep.
But from my perspective, I'm seeing nothing different, right? So, I don't know. I would love to have an open discussion with him and understand his thought process on that.
I mean, we're in week 17 of the season now, and we feel like all we've been seeing is curl routes.
Yep.
I mean, even to say that play that I sent over this morning where they broke down, where it was a goal line situation, cover 3 defense, Gus Bradley defense, basically curl route to basically work with that cover 3 defense. Basically, that defense is designed to be able to keep the guy in front of you. If everybody runs curl routes, they're basically just going to just go right into that defense. And it's frustrating to watch that because that's not winning base football.
Yeah. Do the laughing. That was making me laugh so hard, Kyle. Like the laughing emoji. There we go. Zach, that was hilarious. When I read that, I was dying. I'm like, oh my god. I don't know. It made me laugh so hard. I was like, oh my god, Zach, you're killing me. But you're right. And it's not that difficult, guys. And again, it's so funny. I watch our play calling all the time. And I'm like, man, this is the same stuff. It's like up, out, up, in. Maybe a fade here and there. I mean, it's like, dude, it's so vanilla, and
very vanilla. And I mean, we don't do things. And for instance, just to say that play, it's a dumb call because basically the only guy that's really open during that play was Austin Eckler, to where he had 3 guys defending him, basically.
Yes.
And that's not a winning call, in my opinion. That's a losing call, in my opinion.
That's a crappy call.
Maybe probably Joe Lombardi views it as that was a running play for them.
Right.
Basically, maybe that's what they view it as. But at the same side, I think that situation was a 3rd and 9 or something like that, or 3rd and goal or something like that. And it just didn't progress to what you want to do. I mean, it's a lot to ask of a player to say, hey, catch this ball and make 3 people miss you, basically.
Right.
That's very, very difficult for any player out there to do. Extremely difficult. So it's really, really just kind of frustrating to watch that. So either way, I think that's something that I think that they have to figure out. Now, once again, going back to this Rams game, in these next 2 games, I'm hoping to be able to see some little wrinkles added to this offense. Throw in something different. Throw some crossing routes. Throw some rub routes. Throw some out routes. Throw something different out there than all curls all the dang time. we need to be able to see that. And that's, to me, these are 2 games to prime us for a solid run into the playoffs.
Right.
100%.
Keep the defense of where it's at. Keep the defense of what they're doing. We need to find a way to get this offense really, really rolling. And we need to open up this offense in some level. Now, we don't want to show all our tricks, but we want to be able to show new wrinkles. And that's something that I'm really, really going to be looking at here in this game, 100%. Because, I mean, really all we're really playing for in this game is just better seeding. If Ravens lose, we win, okay, we get jumped to the 5th position at that point. And then the thing is, the Bengals and the Ravens play for the last game of the season. Probably will be a primetime game.
Oh, we got a pick. We got a pick. It's Davis.
Oh, look at that.
Nice pick.
Yeah, baby. Michael Davis with the pick.
03, Mike D.
Well,
Mike D.
Mato, baby. Mato, you got him, homie.
That's
right,
dude. Yo, man, I mean, it's crazy what Michael Davis has done, man. I mean, he has stabilized that position and that side of the field for us on such a high level. Like, in a weird way, man, like, I was kind of dreaming a little bit about the Super Bowl. We got to the Super Bowl this year, and I was like, who would be the MVP of that game? And some thought, I don't know why, and obviously you go to like offensive players all the time and whatnot. For some reason, I wanted to say Michael Davis is the first guy that popped in my head if we were in the Super Bowl. Now, this is extremely hypothetical, but like my thoughts is that Michael Davis is going to have some lights out game or something like that, where he'll get like a pick 6 to basically clinch the game for us, or something like that, or like a very critical couple plays through the game. So. Total of hypothetical, but I was just daydreaming and just thinking about what the Super Bowl might be like if we get there, kind of thing.
There you go.
I don't know, super random. But he's playing so well this year for us. It's incredible to watch. It's incredible.
Yeah, that's a good question, Chow. I will say this. Who do you want to play in the Super Bowl? Personally, I'd love to play the Niners. I think the Niners is a really good team. I really don't know. You know, you talk about the Eagles. You know, the Eagles are obviously probably the favorite team, I would think, right? But I don't know, dude. I think the Niners are a better team personally. But of course, with Purdy, they're not the better team. So it would be interesting to see if Garoppolo comes back. But again, you know, who knows, right? I would love to see that. Now,
Herbie. Whoa! Oh! Wow, was that really?
Oh yeah!
Jeez, was that a touchdown?
Yeah, that was a touchdown. That's a straight up Herbotron right there, baby. Yeah, let's go.
Yo,
that was sick.
That was a straight Herbo bomb to all levels
right there. Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's pissed. He's yelling at his defender. He's like, "You freaking moron!"
Yeah.
Is that the guy? Is that the guy that holds Big Bay back from getting on the field?
He got his toes in there too. Watch.
Oh, probably. Yeah. Oh man.
Oh wait, man.
Oh yeah.
Man, I don't know, man.
We'll toe tap.
That was regulation. I don't know if he got his second toe down.
Hey man, they ain't challenging it.
Yeah. Well, they better not.
Oh, McVay's all angry.
There it is.
Oh, there it is. There it is.
Yes.
But yeah, going back to that conversation, though, man. I mean, I'd love to see the Niners. I don't know. What do you guys think as far as Super Bowl is concerned?
Yeah.
Or Super Bowl, as Chow wrote.
Super Bowl.
Super Bowl.
Hey, man, hey, yeah, that sounds like a delicious dish.
Yeah, I know.
I want to eat that. I actually had Chinese.
I want to Bao dumplings. I like those.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah. So good. Ooh, man, I want some bows. Oh man. Yeah, because I was actually looking at this the other, like, you know, when we were chatting before this whole thing, I realized, yeah, the NFC teams that are currently in the playoffs, like, all have
touchdown, boys.
More history. Oh, the confirmed touchdown? Here we go. Sweet. But yeah, the NFC teams have like a confirmed history of winning championships more. Like, I mean, current teams in there, the Niners, they got like 5. The Cowboys in there, they got 5 as well. Like the Giants in there, they got like, I think they got 4. The Eagles have 1. The Washington has like 2. And I'm like, okay. Then you look at the AFC side. Chargers have none. Vikings have none. Dolphins currently, they have like 1 or 2 or something like that. You know, it's like all the teams on the NFC side have a bigger history of winning. And so for me personally, I think it would be cool if it was more of like a Vikings versus Chargers, Super Bowl. So that way, like, you know, one of these teams is going to win.
Yeah. And that would be an interesting thing. Yeah, and it would basically say, okay, one of them is going to get the Super Bowl win and get their first Super Bowl. And what's interesting about that too is you got Kevin O'Connell over there who was with the Rams also at the same time with Brandon Staley too. So they kind of know each other in that sense. And Kevin O'Connell was going to be our offensive coordinator for the Chargers before we ended up getting Lombardi. So it would be an interesting thing to be able to have that. There is a commonality there. Now, that's kind of a matchup nightmare in some sense because Justin Jefferson is an absolute beast over there for the Vikings.
He is.
He's one of the best.
He's pretty much their offense, in my opinion, right? I mean, I think he's their guy. You got to double team him though, no matter what. You got to double him.
100%. And their defense is pretty shaky, in my opinion. I mean, I don't think they're actually highly rated as a defense. No.
Oh, Mac was about to sandwich that fool. Hey, I like East Los Chargers comment about the Cardinals. Why can't we scheme players open like we did the 2-point conversion against the Arizona Cardinals?
Yeah.
That was about 10 minutes ago. And look, I'll say this. By the way, we were all at that game. We were at that game.
Right.
That was a good game. That was a great game to be at.
That was by far the best play call Joe Lombardi's done all season.
All
season. And the thing about that play call, if you break it down, you had Allen here. He was a little back, and then you had Everett. But they ran the same route.
Right.
But Allen went up and then went inside.
Yeah.
He took the double coverage. And then Everett was trailing, and he was completely wide open. Right? Yep. That's a simple play. Simple play, slants. And I keep going back to that. I'm like, guys, why don't you run slants like that occasionally just for a short yardage situation? Because the thing about our offense, okay, again, I've talked about this so many times at nauseam, and I hate repeating myself on this, but I know that a lot of people haven't heard me say this potentially, is that our whole offense is about spreading everybody out. The whole point. Make the whole field available because Herbert's got such a great arm.
Yeah.
And then the person has to beat their one-on-one matchup. Well, in that situation, they double-teamed Allen and then left Everett completely open, right? So it was basically pitch and catch. So my thought is, why don't you just do that play even on the normal field, right? Like, why not have that play available? Because if you need a 5-yard play, spread everybody out and then do double slants. Real simple. Have the delayed response, double slants. You can at least get 2 or 3 yards on it, right?
Yep.
And I guess, again, that's my frustration with Lombardi. It's curl routes, it's post routes, it's outs, it's ins. It's just very – nothing schemed. Nothing is ever interesting or or unpredictable for that matter. Now, you talk about the Cardinals. You know who I would like to have as our offensive coordinator? Cliff Kingsbury when he gets fired, because he is going to get fired. I literally don't think there's a chance he's going to be their head coach next season. But I would love Cliff Kingsbury to be our offensive coordinator because he's very inventive. He'll do some good things with Herbert, and he did a lot of good things with probably one of the worst quarterbacks in the league, in my opinion, Kyler Murray. He's not a good quarterback.
Right.
Guy thinks he's the best thing since sliced bread, but he's not. And, he did everything he possibly could with that guy, and he's not that good. So anyways, that's just my take on it. I know we talked about it quite a bit on a couple of other episodes, but what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so it's the interesting thing. So somebody said in the comments too, they said, hey, Lombardi's probably not going to go and be a head coach somewhere. Unless it's going to be some garbage team, say like the Texans or something like that, or something like that. Now, once again, we're probably, let's say we go to the AFC Championship. Let's say that we win the Super Bowl. I mean, win the Super Bowl will probably put Joe Lombardi in some position to where he will probably get hired as a head coach somewhere. That's generally at the natural progression. It's always like, hey, whoever basically got to the Super Bowl, let's look at their coaching staff, try to find ways to be able to get them.
Right.
Those coaches that found a way to win a Super Bowl kind of thing. That's kind of what happened to the Rams pretty much.
Yep, exactly correct.
So bottom line, I think we're going to be stuck with Lombardi again unless Sean Payton finds a way to get a job somewhere else.
Sure.
He'll probably end up bringing him on there somewhere.
Oh, my gosh.
Mayfield run. What is happening?
You see Baker Mayfield just running? What the heck, dude?
Wheels,
What was that?
Blow him up, dude. Plant his head.
He was running around like Lamar Jackson, dude. He ain't even
Look
that
at this
bad.
guy. What's up? He looks
My
goofy.
boy got wheels.
Oh, man.
Jeez.
Adderley just rock his world, dude.
Yeah,
Just
dude. Shoot.
knock that lid off his head, dude. Come on now.
So yeah,
but I think what'll probably happen though is if we do get in the Super Bowl, then what'll probably happen is again he interviewed for the Texans head coaching role last week or last year.
Right.
So Texans probably gonna need a new head coach. So
Right.
they might call him back and say, all right, well, we made a stupid play decision. Maybe we'll bring you back. Who knows?
right.
Yeah.
Be really interesting to see.
Well, one thing that I remember when Brandon Staley got hired in, he said, "Hey, I want to build a staff of coaches that end up getting jobs somewhere else." Meaning as in not like firing them, but getting them into head coaches. I want to be able to be a breeding ground for head coaches.
Bam.
Look at that. Jeez,
Was that corner blitz right there?
Yeah.
Yowza.
Yeah.
That was Bryce Callahan.
Bryce Callahan, baby.
Callahan Auto.
Callahan Auto Parts. Get your brake pads here.
Yeah, but that's what Brandon Staley's goal is. I mean, he doesn't want these guys here forever. He wants these guys to end up being a head coaching. He basically wants to build a Brandon Staley tree. Per se. Like he came from the McVay. He wants to be. Well, he kind of came from Fangio, in my opinion, his system. But he came to McVay to be able to end up being a head coach. He wants to find other guys on our teams to be head coaches somewhere else. So
Right.
So I mean, I think that's kind of what he's hoping, that he could build this system to do this for us. So bottom line, Lombardi will probably stick around next year. I mean, if not, it's going to be Shane Day. It has to be Shane Day for us next year. I'm not really super like Cliff Kingsbury. Once again, I haven't looked enough at him to really know if I would like him as an offensive coordinator. Like, I was chatting with some Cardinals fans at the game. They were like, "We don't like his play calling. We think he's terrible. He's too conservative." I don't know. They had plenty of weapons on that field, and they just haven't found ways to get anybody going. For instance, Robbie Anderson. You trade for the guy. The dude had like 2 catches going into the Chargers game. Yeah. He's been there for 3 games. Yeah. Why have you not schemed a guy that you traded for, integrate him in a system to when you even have injuries in the wide receiver position? Something's going on there. So I don't know. To me, I don't know if I'd be very happy about Kingsbury, but that's my opinion. It's my opinion. I don't know. But
well, I mean, so I'll answer this too. Is like, I mean, if we win a Super Bowl, get that Lombardi trophy, first and foremost,
we get rid of a Lombardi.
Yeah. First and foremost, I'm gonna find someone to put a baby in them that night. Just to say that. So that'll be a good time for me. That's all I know for sure. But if we win that, I don't think we'll need to fire anybody because like you said, other people the coaches are gonna go be sent off somewhere. Lombardi definitely is going to become head coach somewhere else.
Yep.
Could be the Colts, could be the Panthers, could be the Falcons, could be the Texans. Basically the door will be wide open for him to get that bump for sure. I mean, hey, just remember even in 2006 after we had that deep playoff run, our entire coaching staff got gutted. Ron Rivera became a head coach to the Washington team, I guess Redskins, now then football team, now Commandos.
I think he went Panthers. No, he went Panthers.
Panthers, that's right, Panthers Washington first, yeah. And then even Wade Phillips, he went off to the Cowboys for a long time, and then he kind of flopped there, and then realistically that's kind of what happens with any Super Bowl team that is really fresh and young and stuff like that. They're all gonna get moved on, so we're not gonna need to fire anybody at that point. So but
I think it's less about firing, it's more about hiring new coaches.
Right.
People are just gonna get picked off at that point. So,
Yep. 100%.
That's all it really is.
But I think James and I we were talking about that last year about how we like what the Cardinals are doing as far as when they're playing last year. This is a whole different team than what we were doing. And I think Kingsbury could be really good because realistically, What I was gonna say is that I feel like the problem is it's not Kingsbury's play calls. It's Kyler Murray's just being a butthead. Like he doesn't want to do what Kingsbury wants him to do. And so if you get Kingsbury with freaking Justin Herbert, who's gonna literally do freaking the play to perfection as best he can. Dude, I don't know, man. I think that would be a freaking winning combination right there for sure.
And the thing about it is Kyler Murray's a contrasting player in my opinion versus Justin Herbert. I mean, he's dude maybe a hair over 6 foot, if that. Yeah. I mean, I think he's a hair over 5'9" the way he looks. I mean, dude is tiny running around. He kind of reminds me because his helmet looks so big on his head. Kind of reminds me of like the big head code that you do on NBA jams.
Yeah,
that's like kind of what it looks like. Small body, big head kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But either way, it'll be a total contrasting type quarterback, a guy that, just to your point, Kyle, like he will play the play that you ask and do a great job of it. And Kyler Murray he can't see over these offensive linemen and defensive linemen. He's a real short dude.
Yeah,
and that's why he tends to run around looking like he's got a baby with your cell phone. Like. Well,
I mean, I feel like though the argument could have been said about that with Drew Brees though as well back in the day. But because he's shorter, obviously, like. But you could still be a fantastic quarterback at that, even at that size. If you're doing what people are freaking telling you to do.
Yep. Yeah, most definitely. But either way, I mean, I know we're sitting here talking about the Cardinals' potential coaching staff and everything too. But
Aether had a question about coaches for us too, though.
More coaches, coach questions. I was just thinking we're going to chat about the Rams a little bit more, but
yeah. Well, there is a Rams question, McVay or Belichick right here. So
So I think I'll answer this one. I think Belichick is definitely a better coach.
100%.
Largely because he's won Super Bowls, right? I mean, you can sit back all day, but again, McVay's most likely going to be a head coach as long as Bill Belichick has been, right? If he wants to continue to coaching. So, he has a lot to prove compared to Belichick. And Belichick, again, is a very old school. If you watch our video was it yesterday, James, that we talked about Belichick and Brandon Staley, Kyle Benoit talked about the differences.
Yeah.
Staley specifically is very focused on every player, right? He has every player's number in his phone. Bill Belichick is completely the opposite. He doesn't do that. Like, he will communicate to you as a head coach. He keeps that at the relationship at a distance. Brandon Staley's not that way. He's exactly the opposite. And, it's that old statement in my mind, right? You get more friends with honey than you do with vinegar. That's, nice play, Mac. Hell yeah.
Great job.
But again, it's one of those things where you sit back and say to yourself, okay, who's better? Well, Bill Belichick has done it. So you have to agree that his way of doing it works. Brandon Staley does it completely different, and I would assume McVay does very much the same thing as Staley. I think they're very much player coaches. That's the right word for it. So that's my take. But definitely Belichick, in my opinion. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, and that's just a very hard one to basically say. And I think with the Aether and what he was talking about, because his follow-up answer was talking more about coaches that came from his system and what they did. And the thing about it is Belichick has a longer history all around. As coaches. Now you go Josh McDaniels more recently. Yeah, he basically is a dumpster fire with the Raiders. I'm okay with that. Let's stay that way. But then you go with the Titans with why is his name out of my mind? But basically the head
Vrabel.
Yeah, Mike Vrabel. Yeah. I mean, he's had some pretty successful years there, right? He's even had first seed.
Get the 2-minute warning here going, guys. 2-minute warning. This is awesome.
2-minute warning at the half, baby.
Yeah, come on. So, 2-minute drill. Let's go.
So you have that. You got Romeo Crennel. You didn't really do a whole heck of a lot. I mean, you got he was the Dolphins head coach last year, ended up getting fired, and I think he's back. Oh, he's with the Steelers now. But either way, yeah, it's very tough for any coach to be able to leave a system to be able to be successful anywhere. Like, some of these coaches get hired for crappy organizations, but they just take the job because, hey, I want to find a way to be able to get to the next level some way or another.
Yeah, but the good news is like someone like Staley, he came in and changed the organization.
Yeah,
changed the organization, exactly.
Yep. Owners down. We were talking about this today.
Yep.
Guys, do you know we talk about the Chargers all day? You were specifically saying, James, Spanos is a horrible owner.
Yep.
But this last season, he stepped up, he opened up his wallet, and Brandon Staley convinced him to go out and get Khalil Mack, J.C. Jackson, Sebastian Joseph Day, Austin Johnson, all these guys that are out there contributing. Well, J.C. Jackson didn't really contribute much, but but my point is, he's changing the organization, ownership all the way down. That's what a head coach should do in my opinion. Yeah. So,
and even
I would put Staley on that list as well, Aether, right? But Staley and McVay got a lot more to prove. A lot more to prove.
Yeah. Well, and I was going to follow up a little bit on that conversation because there was a Facebook conversation where a guy posted earlier this week, oh, man, Sean Payton would put this team to the next level kind of thing.
Yep.
And, the whole thing about that is like, how do you say something like that when we don't even know what we have in front of us right now? We got a guy that almost got us to the playoffs in the first year that he was our head coach. Technically, we were in a playoff game last year, ended up losing it. But, hey, I came out of the game thinking that was one of the greatest games I've ever watched in my life. And I feel like now we have a solid position in playoffs. We're going to know what we have at this point. Look, there's a lot of young coaches out there that just find a way to get hot at the right time, win a Super Bowl young in their career, and then at the end of their career, per se, to be able to get another Super Bowl. You could almost, and so it's interesting because this other chat thread that I was watching, they were talking about, Mahomes might have already peaked in his career. Andy Reid might have peaked in his career. Sean Payton possibly peaked in his career, and he just basically won one Super Bowl early in his head coaching career and never got back there, right?
Right.
Yep.
Sean McVay is probably the only guy that you could say that's a young head coach that's gotten to 2 Super Bowls in a very short amount of time and finally won one.
Right.
Now, we see kind of what's going on with the Rams this year where they've...
Oh, what the heck?
Oh, man.
What happened there?
Oh, no.
Did he just like grab it like freaking Khalil Mack? He's like, I'm gonna drink a milkshake, fool.
Yeah.
Oh, that sucks. Yeah,
You're almost.
Oh, no. Okay. Let's do it right to him. Oh, come on.
Come on.
Oh, it's horrible.
But,
Herbie.
Yeah, the thing about it is like,
Herbie.
There's young
Back
coaches
him on
that
the
have
wrist.
done it.
Herbie, not good.
Yeah. But there's been young coaches that have done it. And I think we can't just sit there and say, hey, look, Sean Payton will do a better job when he hasn't done a whole heck of a lot since 2006. Other than basically having epic collapses in playoffs. So, hey, I'll take a guy right now that has great potential, that's changing an organization that really seems to be. And once again, Kyle Van Noy's interview that he had on Pat McAfee's show, he's like, dude, he knows guys. He understands guys. He creates relationships with guys. He controls a room when he's a coach out there. And people are listening to the guy. The guy hasn't lied about what he's done as a coach and what he said that will happen in games. So, look, I'll take a potential guy that could be maybe the next greatest thing. I don't know. Let's take the chance on this guy. And I think it's just so naive of somebody to say, hey, look, Sean Payton will do a better job.
I think what you're saying is the upside for Brandon Staley and McVay is higher than some of the older coaches. Is that what you're saying? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I mean that makes a lot of sense too. You think about like a coach peaking or a player peaking and stuff like that, because let's be honest, a lot of times, like, see, Tom Brady aside, like most quarterbacks only really have like maybe 1 or 2, at the best, like 3 Super Bowls in them, like, and so like that's just kind of like what it seems like, because the NFL is freaking hard, like it is a massively hard freaking sport, like, to be good at and consistently good and get there, So, I mean, that's a huge thing. Like, I feel like, in that debate between McVay and Belichick, I think the debate is out that Belichick is historically the better one, but he's probably at his point that he should just retire now, Like, there's no reason for him to continue to coach. anymore, you know. But McVay, like I think he does have the upside potential that you're talking about that Brandon Staley does. He probably still has a few in him to get out there and stuff. And Staley definitely has a lot to do to get out there because he still wants to prove himself and he's hungry for it, you know. And that's kind of like the mentality that we need. And obviously, sure, like you're saying, like Sean Payton could be the same way, you know. Like I mean, there, like I 100 basically I'm just saying is I 100% agree with you, and I feel like in this debate, like an older coach is only good until for a certain point. Like I mean, their tactics get kind of old. Just look at
and
what's his
predictable.
name? The Colts defensive.
Gus Bradley.
Gus Bradley.
Yeah, Gus Bradley. Yeah, we always talk crap about him. You know, his scheme worked very well in Seattle with the boom squad or whatever it's called.
Legion of Boom.
Yeah, Legion of Boom. Yeah,
Boom Squad.
Boomhauer
Squad.
Yeah. But
Boom
then like
Squad,
that scheme has not worked anywhere else besides Seattle. So
Well, I don't know, dude. Their defense is ranked pretty high right now.
So
it's they're ranked above us.
oh,
Yeah,
So-
Colts have a very good defense, but the thing is, though, it's a bend don't break kind of situation.
Right.
100%.
Yeah.
They want to be able to keep points low in the game. They want to keep the guy in front of them. And the thing about it is, the side to that makes sense. I get it, but at the same side, you go back to say like that Raiders-Chargers game last year, where Gus Bradley was the defensive coordinator over there. It's effective if the guy doesn't catch the ball in front of you, because basically what we kept end up doing is that we kept getting 4th and 21s, 4th and 17 touchdowns or whatnot, like insane. So it really required the player to be able to jump in front of the player to be able to bat the ball down. And if they play 3 yards off the guy could catch the ball and make a play. And there is a side that Gus Bradley just plays a little too soft, bend don't break, and then it ends up sometimes not breaking past you, it breaks in front of you. And I don't know, I think Gus Bradley's defense was just an absolute frustration thing to watch all around as a defense. But once again, he does a good job with the Colts, and the Colts have a lot of injuries on their defense, by the way, too. So, but
well, I think also, maybe we should move to another topic. But Zach has a really good point. He highlights Zach's question here about SJD coming back and the secondary balling.
Yeah.
But I'll give one last thought on this. His defense is all about execution, and the team is executing well. Now, I will say this: in the NFL, and I've said this over and over again, perfect example. It leads into what Zach is saying. With our secondary playing well and SJD, Fehoko coming back, we're executing team defense. And that's what Gus Bradley does. We're finally doing team defense. Why don't you highlight that question there, Kyle? Zach,
which
Benson.
one?
Zach Benson, 11-15.
Yeah. 11-15.
Yes. So, and bottom line, it's that's the whole point, right? Like if you're not executing team defense, you're going to need to, continue to get better and better. And we're finally getting better. We're finally getting healthy, by the way, too, right? And then SJD's playing great. Fehoko is playing great. I thought Fehoko should have been a starter from day one. But he wasn't. And I think, what he keeps saying, what are we about to see this month? I mean, dude, it's freaking solid, man. I think we're playing amazing team defense. And I think that's really where, bottom line, this team's – we've never had a perfect game on both sides of the ball.
No.
Offensively, we're not playing great, but defensively, we're playing great. What if we can play defensively and offensively great? Sky's the limit.
Huge.
Sky's the limit. So I think it's a great point, Zach. I mean, are you going to pull it up, Kyle?
I can't find it when you're talking about.
It's down at the bottom. It's down at it's just at 115.
115.
You said 11-15.
No, I said 115. Yes, at 115.
Well, remember also I'm at Pacific time zones over here.
Oh, God. Okay, so
here it is.
But Zach, So anyway, but my point is that's a great point, Zach. Right? When we think about the Chargers, like we have not had a complete game on both sides of the ball all season, not even at all. In fact, I would argue at one point the defense is playing great and the offense isn't playing great, right? I mean, I think we almost played pretty poorly on offense. Right? Again, my frustration for Lombardi just continues to mount.
Yep.
But dude, the defense is stepping up and shutting people down. Yep. So I'm sure you guys want to comment on this. And I think it's a great question. And thanks for calling it out, Zach. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing, and we talked about yesterday in our stream too, that it would be cool to be able to see this defense being one of those legendary defenses going through the playoffs.
Yep.
And 85 Bears, the was it 01, 2000 Ravens, or even to say the Rams last year, they had a pretty solid defense also too, by the way. I mean, it would be cool to be able to hear the Chargers being one of those legendary defenses of NFL history. And defense wins championships, bottom line, guys. Like, if we could just allow this defense to play the way they're playing right now, which would put complete lights out. Now, people jumped on it on some chat boards, like on Facebook or chat groups on Facebook. They're like, oh, well, you guys played the Dolphins, the Titans, and the Colts. Yeah, they're still NFL organizations. By the way, the week before, the Colts just dropped 33 on the Vikings, by the way, or 36 on the Vikings.
Yes, they did.
So you guys need to shut up about all that kind of stuff and say, hey, they can't do it. Well, they did do it. They did do it. Yep. They dropped 36 on the Vikes. And, we're up 33-0 at the half. Like, come on, guys. Like, epic collapse, by the way. But they can score. These teams can score. Like, I think it's really, really ridiculous to be able to see that kind of idea. But I would just be excited. Once again, girls18.site. Here we go. Woohoo! New dating for all tastes and ages.
Avert your eyes,
Start off your 2023. Start off 2023 with a bang.
Right. Hey, it's
New
Year's
Eve.
The
diamond. She's worth every penny, right?
Yep.
That sounded like I was just like a sponsor. By the way, our sponsor is. That's crazy.
Oh yeah, we all know you got an OnlyFans over there, James. Yes.
The OnlyFans, baby. Hey, works. Hey, I'm a different flavor for other people, so hey, why not? I can be the flavor out there. You need a shot of my feet? Yeah, no problem. I got you. I'll send you a photo of my feet. Cool. But
so what do you think, Kyle, about this? About the defense playing so? Ooh, add a kid. Is that Morgan Fox? Oh, Megan Fox. There you go.
What's up, girl? Hey, by the way, Morgan Fox is second on the team for quarterback pressures so far.
Is he really? So he really is more of an actual pass rushing. He comes in more pass rushing situations. Typically. So I'll give you a good example. That's what they wanted Tillery to be for the Chargers.
Yep.
And that was the inside track as to why we released him, is that basically said, hey, we want you to be more of a pass rusher, because he really is more of a hybrid in between. He's not good at stopping the run. We all know he's horrible at stopping the run. But Morgan Fox is good at rushing the passer. So let's see. Is he going to be 9 to 10? Goodness gracious, guys. Come on now.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
So, I mean, our defense has been balling out. Like, look, freaking Khalil Mack is still he's our sack leader.
He's crazy. He's
is our second sack leader with 5.5. Drew Tranquil's our third at 5, and Derwin James at 4. So, but then you also look. I always actually like to look at the tackles for a loss as well, and put those right up next to the sacks and stuff. Khalil Mack is still leading there. He's getting that. He's back there. He's got 11 tackles for losses out there. Sebastian Joseph Day has 8 tackles for losses. Kyle Van Noy 7. Kenneth Murray 7 as well, and Drew Tranquil 7 as well. So, man, our defense is balling out as far as pressure on the quarterbacks and stuff.
Yeah,
so
we're
doing really well, and this month, I think having Bosa back, because that's when Khalil Mack had 3 sacks in a game. We have that whole we got the Iron Maiden back, guys.
Yeah,
Iron Maiden.
Yeah,
the Iron Maiden back. That's right.
Let's talk about the defense a little more, right? Bottom line, the cool thing is, so Mack has been double teamed all year. We know that.
Right.
He's been chipped every single
play. But he's still freaking balling out, though.
He's still balling out. He's doing great. Yeah. But when you get Bosa out there, you can't double team Mack at that point. You cannot do it, right? So it immediately limits what the offense can do, right? You can't run 5 offensive linemen. You probably got to go heavy set, most likely, and have to again thinking like an offensive coordinator, right? If I know that I got 2 edge rushers that good, you'll run a lot more heavy sets to make sure your quarterback has got protection, right? So you're running 7 on the line, basically, or a variation of. Or sliding the line to the right, maybe the play moves to the right or something of that nature, right? So you're moving away from, the pressure on the left side from Mac or Bosa, right? But the problem is you're going to limit what they can do.
Yep.
That's what a defensive front like we have, which is rushing 4 guys. We're talking rushing 4.
Right.
Dude, and then at the end of the day, everyone can be out in coverage. If you could stop the run with 4 guys in the NFL, again, that's an extremely light box, bro. It's game over. It's a wrap. You're going to see picks. You're going to see fumbles. You're going to see mistakes.
Oh yeah,
game over, man. I mean, it's done. No team can win in the NFL if you're losing to 4-man fronts. You just can't win. You can't win. You cannot win. So yeah.
Heck yeah. Oh, got an oh shoot! Oh no!
Come on, man.
Dang.
Oh, got pick 6. Oh
man, Herbie, come on now.
Come on, buddy. Come on, Herb.
All right, this game is not real, dude. This ain't happening.
No,
this is not the live broadcast.
I mean, guys, just so you know, guys, this is it's a video game. Wow, that was a crappy throw. Goodness,
dude.
What was he doing,
right into his
dude?
bread basket. Well, maybe not exactly in his bread basket, but again, it's one of those things where when we are full strength, I mean, we will be amazing. It would be interesting to see though. When we get J.C. Jackson back next season, how well he'll fit into the organization, because I think now he's probably maybe understands maybe what he needs to do more. I think he was a bit frustrated. I think he was more of a man guy. Didn't quite understand. Oh, they're going for 2. Going for 2.
Yeah, they kind of have to.
We stopped.
I get it.
All right, there we go. All right.
Oh, it is good.
Oh, but that guy's not even going to be playing.
Yeah, they said it was good.
Dude, he got tackled out of the freaking end zone. That was so weird.
How was that good?
Yeah, they got to challenge that, dude.
Yeah, they challenge that.
They got to challenge that.
Man, Brandon Staley looks weird, dude. I mean, he looks like correct.
He looks weird.
Brandon Staley does look weird. He does look weird. Yeah, let's see. There was another comment here that Aether was talking about some sort of schedule, the next year's schedule with the Bros. What we talked about yesterday. What is that about, James?
Well, I mean, I know Aether and I chatted a little bit about next year's schedule, but I mean, I feel like let's talk about this year's schedule. I'm not too worried about next year
right now. Yeah.
Yeah, we're talking about the 2022 Chargers, and that's what we want to talk about. We'll talk about the 2023 Chargers when time is appropriate, but it is going to be an interesting. Briefly, I'll say it'll be an interesting schedule next year. A lot of playoff teams.
Thanks for the subscription there, fellas. Really
buddy.
Appreciate that. What's up?
Thanks for the sub, guys. By the way, hit the like button, guys. Subscribe if you're not subscribed to us. This is kind of a little bit of a different format of what we're doing here, and we're talking about the Rams-Chargers game, but we're kind of going off a lot of different subjects here and everything, because I know this game kind of doesn't mean too much to us other than playoff seeding and everything, but there's just a lot of subjects we're just chatting about with the Chargers more or less here. So but I did want to say one thing too with our defense. One guy that I think that we really need to pay attention to on the Rams this game, and now once again, obviously Baker Mayfield, he's been playing okay. He's kind of playing the Baker Mayfield kind of level, 200-something yards a game, 1 pick, 2 touchdown kind of thing. But Cam Akers last week, he balled out for him, and he's been doing really, really well for them. That's a guy that we need to keep an eye on too for the Rams, which was crazy about Cam. I'm pretty sure he was actually being talked about being traded off not too long ago, and then he ended up having 2 pretty good games. Actually, it's almost like last month he's been playing really, really well.
Cam Akers,
Cam Akers.
Yeah, he's playing well.
Last week he had 118 yards versus the Broncos on 23 carries, 5.1 average, 3 touchdowns. I mean, he balled out last week all around. So that's a guy that's kind of going to be a threat here, and Tyler Higbee will be another guy too.
Nice grab, Alan.
Yeah, nice catch. Then Van Jefferson is kind of a guy that I've always thought was a really good player too. So those are the guys that we just really have to pay attention to and hold down to. And One guy that they have who is playing really well on their offensive line is Ode Obushi.
Yeah.
And, that name rings a bell. I wish we signed him again this year. It would have been nice to have him back on the line, but then we ended up drafting Zion Johnson. So either way, I mean, those are kind of guys that we need to pay attention to on their offense. And what our defense needs to hold back on letting them expose us. And we've done a great job of recent on running backs. And, defense-wise, I think we're averaging a 220 yards, I think, now a game total offense on us. So we're doing really, really well. We're doing really well, and only about a little bit over 11 points a game giving up. I mean, that's insane. That's insane.
Right?
Yeah, Matt brought up a good point, too. He said, only part is true that the stick routes and curls. I don't understand why we keep doing so much of that. And I understand. Part of my, again, I don't want to continue beating a dead horse with Lombardi, but again, it's just not inventive, right? It's the same. It's just offense 101. But Bolt Up Baby brought up a good point, right?
In the playoffs one here?
In the playoffs, yeah, because I actually really do think that there's a lot that we have not shown as far as blitzing and blitz packages and just being aggressive in our own way, guys. Like, I'm not really probably not going to say this correctly, but I kind of feel like we're playing vanilla offense and vanilla defense. So is the argument – maybe the argument is this, right? And I thought about this a couple of days ago. Maybe Lombardi's really a genius and he's just waiting for the playoffs to start really opening up the playbook.
Yeah.
That could be awesome, but I don't think that's really the case. But the cool thing is you can mix up some interesting blitzes and just because we're one of the least blitzing teams in the NFL, right? We really are. We pretty much play man and say, all right, beat us. Beat my guys can beat your guys,
right?
And that's the argument. But I do think that there's some other options of bringing some things. Now again, people like the Chiefs, you really don't want to blitz Patrick Mahomes because he scrambles out of the pocket and does these off schedule type
super
plays.
Good outside of the pocket.
Exactly.
So making plays happen still outside of the pocket. Yeah.
So with him, you kind of just want to let him do his thing. Oh.
Yeah, I was going to say, that was a low kick. Dicker missed it.
Dicker. Come on.
No.
But anyways, but I think it's a really good point. So I would think that there's going to be a lot more trick plays and a few of the little things that they have in the book that they've been trying, that they're going to pull out occasionally, a little bit more in the playoffs, in my opinion, right? You leave it all on the field. And what's the statistic? Like half the players turn over every year anyways, or a good majority. Right, so could be interesting. And Zach, I want to see that third quarter touchdown drought in this week.
I was even hoping to see that in this game that we're doing the simulation, and we still have not seen a third quarter touchdown.
I'm like that. I was like going to make that comment. Are we going to see a third quarter touchdown here?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh!
I don't know.
The thing about it is, Zach, man, like, we are in a lot of these close games all season because we cannot score in the third quarter. I think I saw a stat that the Titans, I think in the last 6 or 7 games, it might have actually been all season, they've been the worst in scoring touchdowns in the fourth quarter. Well, how does that affect a team? Well, they can't close out a game, period. So that's why they are on a 6-game losing streak now, or 7, or whatever it is, because they can't find a way to score in the fourth quarter. Third quarter is very important for us, and we need to find a way to get some sort of rhythm in that third quarter to be able to not make it like a close game in the fourth quarter.
Right.
And, there's still a lot of game to play after the half, by the way, guys. It's 30 minutes of football still being played.
Yeah.
So they have got to find a way to be able to not just play this, okay, we got to come from behind now when we're down 3 or 4 or whatever, or down a touchdown or whatever it is. They have got to figure this third quarter TD situation out immediately. And that's something I'm going to be watching a lot in this game tomorrow too.
Nice.
Oh man. Whoa. How do you get out of that thing? Oh, look at that. We got this game in slow-mo now.
Well, what happened?
Well, I think it does glitch out a little bit every once in a while. The computer's not that good, but it's still getting there. It's getting there. Well, a lot of stuff going on. Sometimes it freaks out, man.
Just like human beings.
Right.
Yeah.
Pablo, maybe that's the New Year's resolution for the Chargers. 2023. Guess what? We're gonna just have a flood of third quarter touchdowns. Let's do it. Like I'd be okay with that New Year's resolution for the Chargers, and maybe Joe Lombardi.
Yeah,
that would be great. But don't negate the other quarters. By the way, we don't want them all in the third. Let's keep what we're doing, but just add to the third, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like the biggest, like here Andrew was saying though too, is like we got to really find a way to convert our damn red zones, man. We are currently looking at lineups.com. We're currently 26 overall with them, and guess what? Who we're tied with? The freaking Raiders in a red zone conversion. Ah, shoot! They just got it on us too, though. You know.
They got a third down, or third quarter touchdown on us.
Can we turn this off? I mean, I kind of want to turn the game off at this point. You know? Hey, Hefe, good to see you, man. Hey, Chiefs looking good, buddy. We'll see you in the playoffs, man. It'll be fun. Yeah, be fun. I think again, it's one of the things that I've discussed a couple times about Lombardi specifically is that if I'm the offensive coordinator, right, at the half, I would, again, we all know there's scripted plays at the very beginning of the game. I would be with my dudes in the box. Okay, what are we seeing, guys? Let's script another 20 plays, right? First half, Q1, and then Q3, I would have scripted plays, and I would do nothing but have those scripted plays coming out. Again, case in point, Bill Belichick has scored he's scored a touchdown in every third quarter, I think for like 3 seasons in a row. He always scores a touchdown in the third quarter.
Yep.
Because he stops and schemes something up. And it's like, dude, why is Lombardi? It's almost like he just continues to just do the same thing over and over again. Never sits back and says, okay, how do we change? What are they doing differently? Okay, what plays work, right? They're running 3-4 defense, or they're running more cloud. They're running more 2 high safeties. And they just don't scheme things up, right? Scheme things up for what they're running defense on. Adjust in the second half. And I just don't quite understand why he's not doing that, right? And that's clearly his fault. That's clearly his fault. That is nobody's fault but himself.
Yep.
And you could say, well, blah blah blah. No, it's his fault. It's his fault, 100%. Good to see you guys. Awesome. Yeah, Boulder baby, Zach, Jorge. Everybody. Out of your Falcon mind, you guys are awesome.
Out of your Falcon mind, man. I love the comments that you guys said there, man. I mean, the thing about it is like, if we do go 11-6, which is what my goal is for this team, we'll be probably in the 5th seed at that point.
Yeah.
We'll play against AFC South, which you're going to go against the next hottest team out there too, with the Jaguars. And those are the 2 scariest teams, in my opinion. If they both get in, well, we get in the playoffs, obviously, but we'll see if they get in the playoffs. That's going to be the battle of the 2 scary teams that nobody wants to see. And it was interesting. Somebody chatted about that. Hey, you're going against Doug Peterson, who has won a Super Bowl, by the way. Young in his career. Once again, that's another guy that was young in his career as a head coach, found a way to get a Super Bowl win, and then hasn't been able to do it again. You're going to go against 2 of the most hottest teams at that point. Those are the 2 teams nobody wants to see in the playoffs. And that's kind of a tough situation for us, tough situation for them. Now, they blew us out, and I think there's a little bit of a chip on our shoulder based upon that loss against the Jaguars, so we'll probably play a completely different game during that game. But, yeah, man, we're going to be a tough team to play in the playoffs if we keep this momentum going to 11-6. I mean, I think it's going to be a tough team to play.
Yeah, the Jags, I did a video called Death by 1,000 Cuts, and that's exactly what happened with the Jags. They just dink and dunked us all over the place. Just 3 yards, 5 yards, yards after catch, 3 yards. There was one drive that was like 23 plays.
Yeah.
Right. I'm sorry, the defense is not going to be healthy, and we did not play well. And that's their game, right? They want to sort of chew you up in little bits and pieces, right? And so you can't let them do that, right? But those are all timing routes. Those are all just, rhythm type plays. So you got to get them out of the rhythm. So, it'd be really interesting.
I like Zach's comment there.
We got to highlight that. Oh my gosh, I got some notes.
If I'm Staley, I'm hiring someone to hypnotize Bosa, seeing card space behind center during the playoffs. That would be great. That would be great.
So funny.
I don't know why Waterboy popped in my head or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
Water sucks. It really, really sucks. And he's like behind the center. Water sucks.
Yeah, water sucks, and then he gets all mad, and then he jumps over and like, we'll have to start calling Bosa Water Boy. Dude. Like
Water Boy over here, dude.
Right.
Water Boy.
That's awesome.
No, but dude, I mean, guys, it's really interesting. I mean, and I'm excited to see Bosa. Right, I'm excited to see what Bosa can do. You know, he's healthy. Again, I don't think you're going to see a whole lot of him. Will probably be in just maybe even only third down. Pass, formations or something of that nature. But it'll be good to see him get out there again, right? Get the wiggles out a little bit, and make it happen, man. I'm excited. So
very excited, man. I'm looking forward to it, man. And it's going to be an exciting situation to be able to see our defense essentially at full health outside of J.C. Jackson.
Look at that play.
Good rip. Good rip. Hey, by the way, Austin Eckler leads the NFL in yards after catch.
Yep.
Right.
Leads the NFL in yards after catch. He is currently 766 yards after catch. Second is Travis Kelce at 629 yards.
How is that? I guess that's because because typically his passes are always like short little like routes like that. So like most of his reception, it's basically his entire like wide receiving.
He's always in the flat. He's always in the flat, or he's always in some sort of screen situation, and he's always just catch the ball and just make something happen. And it's crazy because, I mean, third is Justin Jefferson at 613 yards. I mean, it's crazy to see that. I think he makes one catch this next game. He'll be over 100 catches this season. Right. I mean, for a running back to do that, I mean, years ago, I think it was 2017 or 16. I kept saying, and I think he had about 90-something catches that season too. I said, man, why don't we make Austin Eckler more of a slot receiver than keeping him as a running back? I kept thinking he's a good enough guy for running routes and getting yards after catch, which is exactly what he's doing this year. I mean, the dude's an absolute stud him not getting to the Pro Bowl was absolutely criminal in my opinion. Now, once again, I just don't think people kind of categorize him as a running back, and that's kind of the whole thing, because he isn't really a running back. He's kind of a hybrid kind of player in a sense. Right. But the guy is an absolute stud. But it would have been really cool to be able to see him as like a slot receiver, a little bit more lined up in that situation. I think he'd be great in that position.
Yeah, I like Becky. That's high quality H2O.
That's right.
By the way, Tony, we have run Wildcat once, and it was with Austin Eckler, and and I was like, and it was a really weird time. It was in the red zone.
Yep.
And I think he optioned it to potentially. I think it was Kelly.
Yeah.
Here we go. Oh,
they've got the first down there.
Yeah, I think we got the first down. But to your point, we should run it more.
Yeah, agreed.
So I'm wondering if we do start running it more later on. Maybe we'll see it more in the playoffs. Again, you got to think that they're kind of holding some things back, right? Maybe some plays, maybe some formations, something that we can bring out in the playoffs.
He fumbled the ball at like the 1 yard line. What are you doing?
Guys, wow. I'm glad this isn't the game, dude. I'm glad this isn't the game.
Yeah.
Oh
man. If this was the game, I would have already been back at the tailgate.
Back in the tailgate, drinking your sorrows away.
Yeah.
Nobody knows. Rebel Epstein.
So I definitely was hoping that we were going to get into Tony's comments on this thing too, because he's been talking back and forth. A lot of people in chat been kind of like talking with him about this whole so he's apparently a Lombardi fanboy right now. So and that's good. I want to see that. I want to see someone who actually supports him and stuff.
The opposite side of the conversation.
Opposite side. And so a lot of people he's talking about how like Lombardi is actually running like a very innovative offense, and I'm glad someone's actually seeing another side of it, And so But yeah, obviously they've been focusing on that wildcat play call that they have. That we did like what was it? I think we did only like a few games ago. Was it the Titans game or something like that?
No, I think it was Dolphins game. I think
Dolphins game. Yeah,
I think it was Dolphins. I could be right. I mean, let us know in the chat before, guys, or below. But I think it was the Dolphins. I could be wrong. But yeah. But I like that play. I think it's a great play. It switches things up. You really want to run it more when the defense cannot substitute, right?
Exactly.
So if you're rushing quick, you put Herbert out, and then there's no way that they can substitute or change their defensive package, right? So they can't defend it correctly.
Yep.
So that's right, Tony. It was a Dolphin. I was pretty sure it was a Dolphin, but I wasn't quite sure. But I remember thinking like, there goes my mic.
Hello.
I should have adjusted my mic like that.
We're doing it live, guys. We're doing it live. A lot of crazy things happen.
We are live, yeah. But to me, I still think it's a really good play to continue because it's a wrinkle. It's a wrinkle in the offense, right? Because they don't expect that from Herbert, but having someone like Eckler run it is like, wow, okay, this is really good. And anyways, I really liked it. I thought it was great. I want to see more of it. So,
and that's the thing. That's what the playoffs will tell us. That's what playoffs will tell us. And I'll give props to Tony being a hardcore on Lombardi and everything. There are some elements of Lombardi that are very good. Now, I'll go back to just more recent, just because my mind's fresh on this game with the Monday night game. I said the reason why the offense really isn't working as well is, one, obviously you kind of look at the offensive line giving up a fair amount of sacks, kind of making Herbert getting sacked. I think it's really based upon the guards more than anything. Zion Johnson has been allowing a little bit more pressures. Matt Filer's been adding more pressures to Herbert, which is basically kind of getting him sacked a lot more. I mean, we've been one of the most quarterback pressures since the last 6 weeks or whatever it might have been. It's pretty bad. I mean, first half of the season, we were at like 12 sacks total or something, averaging 1 sack a game or something like that. I mean, we were one of the best. But then going back to the Colts game, there were a couple plays there that got pushed back by penalties at the wrong time.
Yep.
Parham had a big catch up in the middle. Great play. That pulled that one back. You could go back to Keenan Allen catching the flea flicker pass, basically, that we did, that he just barely got out of bounds, which I still don't think he was truly out of bounds, in my opinion.
Yeah, we never saw a replay on that either, which I was like, at least I didn't see him.
I didn't see him step in white. I saw a tad bit of green between that white and that his foot. So I don't know, but
no white there. That was his Vegas effect in the game.
Yeah, they wanted to keep that a low-scoring game, I guess. And the thing about it is, players are also a part of the execution of a plan. And if they do mistakes like a penalty, to be able to pull back some sort of situation, it throws off the game plan a bit. The execution of not stepping out of bounds, like Keenan Allen, it would be a different story. We would have been at a 27-3 win at that point. Absolutely dominant win. Still at 20-3. It was a dominant win for us, regardless. But Lombardi has been doing things. Once again, players need to execute his plan better and be a little bit more sound on not having these penalties too. So if we could kind of hold those back, it'll make everything look different for us.
Yeah, one other thing I will say too, and then we can go to you, Kyle. Our wide receivers, I love Allen and Williams. They're not good at blocking downfield. They're not good, and they give up on plays. They really do.
Yep.
If I have a major frustration with Allen and Williams, actually, I've seen Allen a few times do a really good job blocking on run plays, but most of the time, they don't. But you know what team does is the Titans. I watched that game quite a bit on Thursday, and man, their wide receivers are out there blocking for the running backs, and they're playing team offense. Maybe that's the word for it, right?
Right.
Team offense. And I feel like that's typically where, again, maybe some of the execution that we're discussing is struggling on the offensive side of the ball. But again, it matters to block the guy in front of you. So this guy can run past you and you can get moving through. You know what I mean? So there's just a lot of things. And, maybe they had a discussion of, hey, don't hold the guy, don't do this or whatever.
Yep.
But we're giving up on plays, right? We're not executing it to its full extent. So I don't know. What are your thoughts, Kyle?
Yeah, I mean, like I kind of think what Tony's talking about though too is that like I feel like he's just not showing, or he's not tipping his playoff hand, like so Lombardi is just straight up like he's being very conservative with his play calls, whatever, and just kind of keeping things close to the chest. But then he probably has a whole another playbook ready to go for the playoffs and stuff. So
man, I hope so.
Yeah,
I hope so. I hope so.
Yeah,
I mean, the one thing too, going back to Andy's idea
about
the
looks mean right there, dude. Look at him, dude.
Yeah, man.
We want to see him in a dark alley. What's up?
Buttoned up right there, baby.
Hey, by the way,
I got $50 in my pocket. It's all yours. I got to go the opposite direction.
Yeah.
Well, by the way, Fahoko had a little beef with some Raider fan on Twitter. He said something like "sit down, fat boy" or something like that. And then Fahoko responded back. He's like, "Stay out the playoffs." To the Raider fan. So, he said the Raider fan said, "Stay out of the fridge, fatso."
Yeah.
And then Fahoko was like, "Stay out of the playoffs," because it's like the dude's name is your average Raider enjoyer. And I was like, oh, that's what's up, dude. Good job, Fahoko.
Yeah.
Good job, Fahoko.
Nothing but trolls on the Raiders side, dude. Just trolls.
Yeah.
They're
all
cave dwelling, knuckle dragging trolls, dude.
I mean, even in the chat thread, we're like, well, if we win a Super Bowl, the Raider fans are still gonna say, well, we have 3, blah blah blah. Well, who cares, dude? Like, you guys are so living in 40 years ago. You guys got to stop that. Like, you guys haven't won a playoff game in 20 plus years. Like, guys, come on, like, knock it off. Like,
hey, Francisco's comment is hilarious. I hope Lombardi gets possessed by his grandpa's Vince's spirit.
There you go. Hey, I'll take it. Let's go.
What in the hell is going on here?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is reminiscent of the freaking Jags game.
Oh, he's pissed. Look at him. What the hell?
Look at him.
Man, what's going on here, bro?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Get
out there and get some first downs, Justin. Come on,
baby. So again, I think the score's flopped. I think it's incorrect. Somehow they got the teams wrong.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
That's what's happening.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
Pretty sure. Sure.
That's typically what happens. Actually, these simulations, it's always the reverse. The opposite happens. So, like if we win the simulation, we lose the game. If we lose the simulation, we win the game. So it's like
Hey.
It's a fact. It's a fact.
I'm good with it.
I agree. I had a thought. I know we're getting close to the end of this as well too. So I did have a thought, guys, and I want to make sure we have a little bit of a discussion about this because we've been talking about ideas, and Kyle was brought up. I think Antoine maybe talked about it, about having people call in, and we could do like live questions, and then or maybe have them call a number. And then they could leave a question, and then we can, play the question, and then
we can set that up right now if you want.
Well, but I think what we should do maybe is maybe post the number so people could call in for questions, and then we can just clip them, and then on these live streams we can just discuss them as well too. So for all your guys' questions, like Tony, all you guys, you can have our number. We'll respond. We could even do a video around it. So I think that'd be really fun. And maybe even have, you guys call in as well too, and we can have a discussion over the phone. So I think that'd be really great because we started this. This was Kyle's idea, and we wanted to engage with the fan base to have conversations, right? I mean, that's the whole point of this, right? It's not about making money or anything like that. It's about having that conversation.
Does that number also allow voicemails too?
Yes. So basically, it's a screened call. It would if anyone who wants to call, they can just throw it out there, and straight up just and like I'll have to call them back. But yeah, like if they want to call in and they chat, we can go ahead and do that. That's totally fine. Yeah.
That would be super cool. Yeah, no, it's pretty cool to be able to have that. And once again, guys, we love doing this thing to be able to engage you guys. We would love to be able to just hear about you and your comments, your ideas, your thoughts, and everything about the game, about what's going on with the Chargers. What are some strategies with the Chargers that we should be looking at? So, Tony Reyes, cool phone numbers. I'm known as Trumpet Man for the Chargers for the last 50 plus years. Wait, so like that guy? You're that guy, Tony?
Well, no, it's a girl over there right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
but I mean, thing is for if
No.
Chargers in San Diego.
Oh, for the San Diego. Yeah. That was a guy in San Diego though, right? But it's a girl now in LA.
Yeah.
Yeah, in LA, it's a girl now. Yeah.
Don't get hurt, Herbie. Come on, man. Hey,
Man.
It's a simulation, though, man. It's a simulation.
I know. It's just pixels, baby. It's just pixels. Yeah. But that's awesome, man.
That's
good
cool,
for you, dude.
Tony.
That's amazing. Yeah,
Man,
and again, that's awesome. But
and that's the thing. That's why we love doing this. We love connecting with the community, and that's the whole thing. That it's interesting for me, and I'd say for all of us here at Bold Bros. We kind of have had such a cool perspective of this team that we've followed for decades, and being a part of kind of I guess we're considered influencers or whatnot. Just really getting embedded in the culture is kind of fun. I think it's been giving me a great perspective of this team and how deep this culture is. My gosh, what the fumble is going on here, dude?
We fumbled it in this.
Dude, how many turnovers is that now? Was that 4?
Yeah,
man,
we got butterfingers over here, dude.
Interceptions and 2
picks
fumbles.
And 2 fumbles.
Yeah,
goodness gracious.
Dude, my hair looks amazing, guys. Oh my gosh, keep that hat on. Holy I just got done working out, boys.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt. But it is one thing that's great about being and doing this is that we're connecting with you guys, and we love kind of being able to chat with you guys. We love when we're at SoFi or even at Cardinal Stadium where people recognize us and say what up, and we just chat football. Like, I think it's the coolest part of that. That's one thing I've loved about this channel so far. So, yeah. Tony, man, I was a season ticket holder down in San Diego too, so I'm sure I've seen you, and I'm sure I've seen you on TV. I'm sure I've bumped into you at some point down there too. So that is so cool, Tony.
Hey,
Very
Tony,
cool.
call in. Kyle's going to be at the game at the tailgate. So if you're going, connect with Kyle. We hit that tailgate hard, right? The tailgate's undefeated. We still need to do that shirt too. We got so many shirts.
Tailgate's undefeated, baby.
Tailgate's undefeated. Tailgate's undefeated. No, but connect with us, and I like the idea. So call in that number, and then if leave a question, and then we'll clip it and we'll respond to it, because I really think that's great. Again, we want to definitely engage with you folks. That's why we do this. It's the only I think it's the only reason why we do this. Really, I mean, it's fun, but we get to talk to you guys and see different perspectives, right? So.
Tony, I was in.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, Tony, I was in the view section too in San Diego. Gosh, what side was it? It was kind of near the main scoreboard-ish area. I can't remember the exact area, but I want to say I changed my tickets to Plaza 59. I want to say it might have been for the last couple of years that I was Chargers season ticket holder down there. So, absolute. Awesome experience being there at the Q, man, and great times all around. Was there for when LaDainian. Actually, I think I was there with Andrew when LT broke the record and everything too.
I thought we all were there, man. I could have sworn
we all there. Were you there too, man?
Because I remember being there because we played Denver. Denver. Yeah, we played Denver, and I remember when we scored that touchdown. I was like, "Oh, that's so sick!" We were just like. I think we went to Dave and Buster's afterwards too, man.
Dave and Buster's was a spot, man.
It was
that blackjack chicken, hang out with LT for a little bit, dude.
Oh man,
man.
It's all about that
banana Foster pie or whatever, or cake or whatever.
Yeah,
forget about it.
We are not sponsored by Dave and Buster's. We just like that food, man. It's good.
Hit us up, Dave and Buster's. Hit us up. We like games.
Yeah.
All that.
Oh yeah. Hey, Dave and Buster's. If you want someone to kind of toot the horn for the Dave and Buster's, like I got you.
Got you.
Just send me banana Foster's pies all the time. I'm good. I'm gonna get rid of that on the off season.
Oh, well, maybe I know we're about an hour and a half in, so maybe we should wrap up here, guys. But I don't know. What are you guys' thoughts? Who wants to go first?
I'll go, I guess. Well, the one thing, and I know with this game we chatted a lot about, because I mean, right now we're in the playoffs, so it's kind of different type of topics that we're chatting about. What are we going to do potentially in the playoffs? What are we going to do currently? What are we doing after the season? I mean, after season to me is an afterthought, in my opinion. I'm not really thinking about it all right now. I'm thinking about what's ahead of us. The thing about it is with this game in the next 2 games, I just want to see differences with this offense. I want to see some changes, some new wrinkles, maybe a little bit solidifying our O-line, get our run game going. We need that run game going for us. Why I say that is because we're going to start going into cold weather games, and cold weather games sometimes means you need to have a run game to be able to back up your pass game. So you need to have that balance of the offense. So what I want to see from this is I want to see our defense still sticking to what they're doing and doing it well. I want to be able to see our O-line start to play a little bit more gelled at this point, and I want to see third quarter touchdowns. We need to start seeing those things. So that's kind of where my head's at on for the next two games. Andrew, Kyle, I don't know who wants to go here, either which way, but those are my last thoughts of kind of what I'm looking at for these games.
Go ahead, Kyle.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, my last thoughts for this game is like, I'm really just excited to see Joey Bosa get out there and get some reps in, especially this close to the playoffs, because I mean, I did not want him to just come in and start playing only in the playoffs or whatever, because I didn't want him to be cold. Like I want him to kind of warm up a little bit more, get some good game time reps. Like I'm actually glad that they're doing a snap count for him. So he's probably, I don't know, maybe going to get I would say maybe about 45 snaps. I would say like at the very most, hoping for something like that. Maybe definitely under 50. But it's going to be really good to see. Like, I feel like though, but I was going to say this though too, is I feel like if there was a game that we could lose, I think this one is a least important game, because it's an NFC impotent as well. But then like I want to see him, like, because you can probably like keep some players off the field this game, and if we lose this game, it's not a big deal, because it's just the Rams, it's whatever. But I feel like we should win it though, because we're still in a battle for LA. And like, well, actually, I keep calling it a war, more so, and it's a three-way war too, because the Raiders fans, the Rams fans, and the Chargers fans are all out here, and and for the most part, like, as long as we start winning, we're gonna get more fans and stuff, and we've actually been growing. Our fan base is getting bigger and bigger every year, and because people like what we're cooking over here, So because I think Justin Herbert is one of those people that is actually getting more butts and seats as well. So
agreed.
Yeah, but all that aside, I really want us to actually ball out and win these next two games, go 11-6, have a better shot at getting that 5th seed, and then after that, then we're good to go. Like let's play against the Titans or the Jags. Like I want to see that matchup first before we see the Bengals or the Ravens, something like that. So that's my thoughts.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, again, we want to keep momentum going, but what I really want to also make sure is people are healthy going into the playoffs,
Great.
right? I want to see a healthy team. So that's where I think our coaching staff is probably going to be pretty aggressive. Yeah, and if there's any remote injury that anyone has, they're probably going to sit these next two games, because the team is playing well, right? So why risk it? Why risk it? There's no reason to risk it, right? So. And, and you're right, Anton, health is number one, right? And, you want your team to be at full strength going into the playoffs no matter what. Now, so I just think that, again, we want to see the running game go well, but, it hasn't been a staple for our team this entire season. I don't know that it's going to change this game. I just don't know that we're going to really push it that much. I wish we could, but, again, if we can get the 5th seed, that's all that really matters. That would be great. I think Jacksonville will be the team we'll play if we get the 5th seed. But we'll go from there, man. I mean, I think it'll be really interesting, and I really, again, love to see a few snaps with Bosa, but get healthy for the playoffs, and then donkey punch them hoes. You know what I mean? That's what we got to do. Donkey punch them hoes.
And Francisco brought up the point. He says, "Hey, man, like, to be honest, I don't mind whoever we play in the playoffs, and if we play the way we're playing, man, we could match up well against anybody right now."
For sure.
It's just those small little things that we've chatted about this entire stream. We just need to find a little bit of an extra gear for the offense. We need to find that extra level. We need to find ability to score touchdowns every quarter. We need to be able to find that running game going. We need to be able to get that O-line situated. So those are just the things that, and I'm keying very heavily on the offense right now, because the defense is doing their job. They're 100% doing their job. So I think we could pair up against pretty much any of these teams in the playoffs, in my opinion. So
Agreed.
I'm just excited about it. But what sucks about it is we got to wait 2 more weeks till we get to a playoff game. So just be healthy.
Yeah.
Just be healthy. But it's kind of nice to say that we're not in a heart attack situation of like, well, if this team beats this team, then we could potentially find our way into the playoffs. Now we know we are in the playoffs, and that's a great feeling to know that we could feel a little bit more comfortable going into the situation. So, hey, it only took 9 wins, by the way, guys, to get into the playoffs.
I'll make a prediction too. I think we're going to have more Charger fans and Rams fans at this games too.
Oh yeah,
because LA is a bunch of fair weather fans, anyways, right?
Yeah,
and that's just how they are. That's just how they are. They don't root for teams that aren't winning,
except for the Raiders fans, though. I will give them that. They do not care no matter what, rain, snow, shine, freaking lose, whatever. Like, they freaking love their team like through and through. And that honestly, that is the one thing that I am jealous about with Raiders fans, is that they're just so rabid fans. Like, they're all morons, but they're very rabid. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh man.
All right. Yeah. Well, that's good though. So, all right, guys. So awesome thread. Let us know what you guys think. Yep. Did you like this format? Doing a Madden simulation. We think it might be the best way for us to do our pregame. We get to see a game go, and obviously it's a computer simulation, but then we have our conversations together because we can be all together, right? We can't do the Madden simulation late at night, and that's the time works for Kyle. So, what do you guys think? Let us know in the comments below, and put that number down in the description as well too, Kyle, so people can call in and we can start responding to some of these questions as well.
Yeah.
So, but again, if you send us out some questions, we'll respond to them for sure.
Nice. Nice. Well, and that's great, man. I mean, I think it's good to be able to have that telephone number. I think we need to broadcast it a little bit more in some way or another, maybe even in our chat and in our YouTube channel and our description, just for people to be able to connect more with us. I mean, we'd love to be able to see that. So
yeah, I mean, they can easily just text stuff to that as well.
Cool.
That's totally fine. But then again, too, like I'm also considering setting up a Discord channel. So that way, people can jump in there and then we can get their voice into the stream as well. So that wouldn't be a bad thing, because then we can share memes with each other and stuff that way. And then we can have little Discord chats with people. So there's a lot of different things that we can do, and we're considering all these options. Yeah, Anthony likes that idea. So we're gonna make some things happen for sure. Like, I think that's gonna probably start up next year. But there's a lot of things. Honestly, like I have set up Discord channels before, but I know there's like a lot of things that people want in a Discord channel. So we may have to just kind of have discussions together about like what people want in there.
Yeah.
So wait.
Yeah. Sony Michel did just get waived, and Joey Bosa is activated.
And Roundtree is
elevated. Up from the practice squad.
Oh man.
Wow.
You know what? That's interesting. I'm actually trying to see that right now because I don't see.
I just saw it on Chargers.com.
Oh, really?
Is that what the ESPN? I just got an ESPN notification about that. That's what's up.
So they brought up Bosa. They also elevated defensive lineman David Moa and running back Larry Roundtree from the practice squad for Sunday's game.
Okay, the David Moa makes sense because he played at Boise State, and he actually looked pretty good. I remember him in college. We watch a lot of football, guys. We watch a lot of football, and I remember him specifically. But yeah, that's interesting. Wow, he got waived.
Yeah, you guys do. I watch only the Chargers pretty much. I don't really care about like any other team, or especially now the fantasy, like I'm out of the fantasy playoffs or whatever. So I'm like, I don't care about nobody else.
Yeah, but that's crazy though, dude. Sony Michel got waived. That seems like a really drastic move for me, but.
Right.
I guess you got to think about the playoffs, right?
Wasn't he on IR for a while, or something? Did he get hurt?
He got hurt, but
yeah,
maybe there was some sort of interesting situation. But man, having both active is great. I think he's ready, man. He's ready. He's ready to go out for at least 15 to 20 snaps. That's what all I would do. I wouldn't do more than that.
Yeah.
So
probably just pass situations more than rush situations. More than anything for him, but. It's an interesting thing, and I know we're going really long on the show and everything, but with Sony Michel being gone, and he got kind of disappeared anyways for a very long period of time. How many times did we talk about him basically saying like, man, this guy's getting us 2 yards every single time. Madden didn't show the part where Mayfield craps his pants when he sees Bosa and Max staring him down. No joke, dude. Well, he's going to see that on Sunday. So in real life, it's going to be great.
Yeah. Dude, the Iron Maiden.
Wow. Wow. Dude.
Yep.
See you, bud. See you, bud.
On the ground.
Yeah.
But yeah, with Sony Michel being out, that's kind of the one guy on our offense that has won a Super Bowl. I mean, you would hope that he would have been a vocal leader at the minimum. But maybe they're just trying to get Isaiah Spiller out there a little bit more too.
I think someone actually did try to call. So here, let me try and call him in real quick.
Ooh, let's see. We're going to test it out, guys. I know this is going a little long here, but let's see if we can just pull somebody in real quick.
Yeah.
That would be cool. But either way, man, I think that's kind of an interesting idea of not having Sony Michel there. But once again, he hasn't done a whole heck of a lot, but I think it's just an Isaiah Spiller move more than anything. That he just wants to add in that guy to be able to get him some reps.
Hey, what's good, man? Hey, what's up, Tony? Do you guys hear it, James? Andy?
Nope.
Oh, we don't. Ah, shoot. Okay, so all right. Well, I guess it's not working out too hot here. So,
well, but let's get Tony on a show though, right? So continue working with him, Kyle, and then let's get him on.
Hold on a sec here.
No, how about this? Will Tony come on the post game show with us, with James and I, because we are doing that. So, anyways, that's something we could discuss. Because I think that'd be great. So, I think that'd be great. Cool. I think that'd be awesome. So I'd love to hear an old school perspective on it. And we can talk more about the whole Lombardi thing. Let's have a discussion, right? I think it's a great thing. So,
dude, I love the perspective of people putting things out there saying, hey, man, he's doing a good job and everything. I think he's doing fine in all these sense. And, we're very critical as fans. I mean, we're always going to jump on the person who seems to be the scapegoat. So we love hearing that. And, hey, it would be cool to be able to just do a quick little interview with him and everything, too. Just chat with him. That'd be great.
Yeah. It's interesting. So talking about Roundtree real quick before Kyle comes back, I think bottom line, Roundtree at least knows the system better than Spiller, right? And I promise you, the other reason why Roundtree's not out there is because, and Brandon Staley's talked about this so many times, it's a special teams issue, right? If he's not contributing on special teams, he's not going to make the team. And I get that.
Yep.
I get that. So I promise you that's why Roundtree's up, because Roundtree can maybe help with punts or whatever, and maybe do something else, right? So that's why he probably was brought up. But clearly there's probably some issue with Spiller. And you got to wonder what is going on there. Maybe he's having some friction with the coaching staff. Maybe there's some issue with, and they're not talking about it. I mean, there's no discussions about it, but it's why? Why is he not up here? But I mean, look, you got Eckler and you got Joshua Kelly, who are killing it. They're both looking really good.
Yeah.
So, you're unfortunately in a situation where you're probably gonna have to sit. And you know what? For him, he's a rookie. Why not sit?
Yeah.
Rest your body another year. Have some fun, right?
Big deal.
And let it just be there. But again, I think Kelly's doing great. The cool thing about Kelly though is he's a very good power back. He did a very good job of being a good power back. And that's a big difference, right? So, yeah. And by the way, Zach, I was thinking about the whole Joe Reed thing as well too. I know we were talking about was that our thread yesterday, James? We were talking about that.
Yeah, we were chatting a little bit about Joe Reed, which it is truly a very weird, strange situation with him, because I didn't even think he was on the squad before the season started, and then he randomly was on the team. I swear he got waived or something like that a while back, and I don't know, but I mean, he was a pick back with, I think it was a 4th round pick with, or maybe 5th round pick with Lynn back in the days. And yeah, they just use him as a Tyreek Hill simulation, which we don't even have Tyreek Hill in our division anymore. So what are we really using him? I mean, we did use him, I guess, in a sense for against the Dolphins, but why are we not using this guy? I mean, I think he's gotten 1 touchdown in his career. It was kind of a reverse situation, I believe, that he got a touchdown on, and maybe 2-3 catches, maybe on field. But it's really strange. But yeah, I don't know what the deal with that. But Alfred brought up a point. Spiller can't pass protect, I hear. So that's probably something that they're trying to figure out for him. I mean, the thing about it is the intangibles are there. Yep. The guy knows what he's doing. But, if the same side, if he's able to work on that craft on his game that could put him on field. So, and obviously that's a key thing for us. We have a generational quarterback now. So we need to be able to make sure we can protect the guy. We don't want him to get killed by any means.
Yeah.
We do not want him to get killed.
That's a big part of it, right? But again, the other issue too, I think that's where Roundtree's probably better, right? Roundtree does do a pretty good job of pass protection from what I can see. Because I don't remember when he was in that he really missed a block. He usually picked he usually did fairly well with that, right? So that's one of the things that I do think is good. The other thing I would say is that it is important to definitely make sure that because he's got all the intangibles. He's got the hands, he's got the footwork. Yep. There's clearly things that they need to work with him on. So it's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
But again, and then I think someone earlier in the stream talked about Guyton. That Guyton, this is his last season with the team, I believe. So you got to wonder if they re-sign him. You got to wonder, but they probably can get him pretty cheap. They probably can get him cheap. So I think that'd be a good thing for sure. So I don't know. For sure. Man, what if Spiller's the ace under the sleeve, dude? How cool would that be? It's interesting because if you kind of think about what the Chiefs have gone through in the running back position, Jerick McKinnon, what was it? What's the other guy they drafted late this year, or late this year, I should say. But they've just found guys that actually just seem to work for them. And Jerick McKinnon for them last year was an absolute stud for them in the playoffs. Yep, Pacheco's been amazing.
Yep. And exactly. And then CEH is basically Clyde Edwards-Helaire has basically been non-existent at this point. It's interesting with them because they've found a run game, and they have found a run game through some guys that they just kind of picked up off the wires. I mean, they even have Melvin Gordon over there now. They have Ronald Jones over there. Isaiah Pacheco is the guy who I was chatting about. So, I mean, they have legitimately 4 guys that could be pretty good running backs for them. And we've struggled to try to figure that out for us. And so maybe Isaiah Spiller's going to be a guy that steps up for us in the playoffs all of a sudden. Or maybe these next 2 games, maybe he'll find some way to be able to get something going there. I don't think Larry Roundtree is going to be a guy that's going to get a ton of touches, in my opinion. But, who knows? Who knows what's going to happen with him? But how cool would that be if we were just kind of holding him there just for the playoffs, and he ends up blowing it up in the playoffs? That would be killer.
The good news is, I mean, this is such an interesting league, right? Like, okay, we talked about. There we go. Awesome.
Yeah. So apparently, it was a failed experiment on trying to get him into here. But I know I could do it if I used my other program, the Streamlabs one. It worked totally fine. Because I did it with DZ at one point. So he's definitely, I was talking to him about coming in for the after show, and he's 100% on board with that. So because he's not going to the game, he's going to stay there in San Diego.
Cool.
And yeah, he'll be 100% wanting to talk to you guys after the game. So
okay, cool. That'd be great. So let's send him a link. So guys, check out the post game show. We will be on with Tony, which would be I'm excited. That'd be great. I want to hear some of his stories.
Killer.
Yeah. That'd be awesome. So Tony, love to have you there, man. It'd be great to meet you personinly, right? So I'd love to meet you at the tailgate, have a conversation. Mm-hmm. Talk football, man. That's what we do.
Yeah, exactly. I did get to know him a little bit too, just that couple seconds. So awesome. There's he's a hunter in a lot of ways as well. So I told him that Andrew is like a big time hunter and stuff. There might be a little something that the bros and Trumpet Man can actually do a little bit.
That'd be fun. That'd be fun. Yeah.
That would be killer.
Yeah. So literally and physically, right?
Yeah. So cool. But so I'm looking forward to that. That'd be really good for you guys to kind of have a third person as well after the game.
That would be killer.
Awesome.
That would be killer. Well, let's do that. We'll get the post game out there for you guys. The link will be out on our channel. So post game after the game, and then we'll be talking with Tony there. That'll be killer.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So cool, man. Well, anything else you guys want to? I know we tried to wrap this thing up probably 30 minutes ago.
Yeah. Let's wrap it up, guys.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So awesome. We're the Bolt Bros. See you guys in the next one.
All
See
right.
you, boys.
Bolt
See
up.
ya.
Don't punt. Let's go.